Welcome to Keep It Humane, the podcast, where we dive deep into topics surrounding kindness, compassion, and creating a more humane world, whether it's in our communities, in the workplace, or in the world of animal control and shelters. With our hosts,
Ashley Bishop.
And Ashley Bishop.
And I'm Daniel Ettinger. This show is sponsored by Tomahawk Live Trap. Check them out, livetrap.com. It is time for another episode of Keep It Humane, the podcast. It's me and Texas Bishop. Wisconsin Bishop, believe it or not, she is at a farm this morning handling all the fence duties. They had some horse fencing issues, so she's putting up some new horse fence. Be careful, girl, because those things can zap you. You know, one time it was early in my career, Bishop, and we were at a horse property.
You totally got zapped, didn't you?
Not only did I get zapped, I just grabbed the fence like this, put my hand on it. I don't know, because I was brand new. And I was like, why does my hand feel like it's like on fire right now? And I looked down and I let it go. And I was like, oh, I guess that fence was electric. And so here we are with another electric episode of.
You're lucky it wasn't enough to knock you on your ass.
Oh, could you imagine? I would probably never be doing this job anymore. I'd be like, oh, it's too scary.
I still haven't heard, because by the time we release this podcast, I still don't know what I'm doing. So, I guess that episode.
Oh, because we're 2 episodes ahead. Oh, you don't know what job you did last week?
No.
Oh, you just wait, girl. Yeah, you miss an episode and find out. That's what happens on this show.
Guess what you're going to be doing when you leave? And it's just Ashley and I.
Oh, I can't wait.
We're not going to be so nice.
But guess who gets to edit it? So,
no, we'll call you out.
What a great episode. I'll tell you what, I'm excited. You know, anything with the name Humane in it is always welcome on our podcast. So we're going to have a fun talk here with Humane Innovations in a few minutes. But before we do that, just remember Tomahawk Live Trap is celebrating its 100th year in business. They're a family-owned and operated business who work with humane professionals around the world to produce the safest and most effective animal handling equipment available. You can save 10% on their products by using discount code Keep It Humane. That's Keep It Humane in all caps. You can visit them online at livetrap.com or call them at 800-272-8727. Bishop, how's your week? Because I think you already know how crazy my week has been, because I swear we only talked like once, and I apologize for that.
Listen, guys, if we don't hear from Dan, I automatically think he's not alive, and Mooney has already eaten half of him. So when Dan at least doesn't say like haha or something, it was like Thursday, and I was like, bro, you alive?
That's exactly what happened. And this has been, and this is it, man. This is summer in animal control in a big city area. So it's just this week, I was tapped. That's why I just woke up like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. Same. I mean, it's just been pretty busy. We're waiting for us. As everybody knows, I'm in a big college town. So it's like our schedule depends on the children. So I think next week or the week after is when fish camp starts. So it's about to be hell in our town, sister cities, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're just getting ready for that. And my husband went to his first metal concert last night.
What? Who did you go see? Or did you not go?
I didn't go. I stayed behind. I don't know who he went to go see. He went to go see, I think the band's name is Architect or something like that. I don't know.
Did he make it home?
Yes, he did. I told all the guys that were in the car, because they took my car, and I was like, if my husband gets hurt, I'm killing all of you. Every single one of you, I'm killing you. But no, he had a lot of fun, and we're just hanging out with the kiddos. And dispatch actually texted me last night. They're like, hey, somebody called in a chihuahua that somebody supposedly dumped in a dumpster. Are you gonna go get it? And I was like, dude, I don't need no more dogs right now.
I know, that's right.
But how are you doing?
Wait, did you go get the dog? What happened?
No, it's pending for this morning. So for the officer that's working.
Well, look, I did like you. I remember so when you were busy at your other job last time we recorded, you went in, you had to go to work.
Yeah.
And I admire that so much from leaders. And last night I brought a bunch of supplemental reports home, and I felt like I was a teacher because I had my red pen out and I read for a few hours, just getting us caught up because it's the busy season, you know?
Is.
It is the busy season. So no, I'm good. Just hanging in there, I guess you could say.
Yeah, shouts to everybody. I know it's busy for everybody right now. I just keep seeing like story after story, 18 dogs seized, 20
Ugh,
animals, and
blah,
just like, I know,
blah.
man. I know it. It's been nuts. I just saw one the other day out of Tennessee. They called it Operation Tiny Titans.
Mm,
And just a small nonprofit went out and seized like 18 poor old chihuahuas in just deplorable conditions. And it's the season for it right now, y'all. It's sad. It's really sad.
it is. Well, we're gonna get some, I think, some relief right about now because we're gonna
Yeah.
introduce our next guest. Well, I'm really excited to have, man. I've
Hmm.
been seeing this guy popping up on a lot of the socials, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook. Like my man is out there. Uh, John P. Man, see, I'm gonna mess this up. You know, I'm gonna mess this up.
Peeveler.
Peveler, right?
One
That's
of a
how
kind.
it's spelled.
I know, but I want to say Peveler, which I'm sure you get all the time, and
I
I'm
mean, that's
sorry.
close enough. I will accept it.
Ah, my bad, John. I suck at doing this part of the podcast. But John, uh, owner of Humane Innovations, check them out, humaneinnovations.com. John, welcome to Keep It Humane.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. Glad everybody's awake and alive on a Sunday.
What time zone you in, man?
Eastern. I live in Western Pennsylvania.
Wait, time out.
Oh,
Pause. Time out.
your
Did you
dad's
wait? I
hood.
didn't know this. Do you know where I'm from, son?
I don't. It hasn't.
I'm Pittsburgh, born and raised, man.
Yeah, I fly out of Pittsburgh tomorrow, like I do every week.
Wait, what part of PA? I mean, if you don't want to tell our listeners, that's fine, but I need to know.
I
So,
mean, I run my business from my home property, so it's on the website. I live in Ligonier, Pennsylvania,
Ligonier, what?
a little over an hour east of Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
are you going to go to Latrobe this tomorrow, today? Like, go see training camp? What's going on, man? You're not a football
I
fan
go to
then,
Latrobe pretty regularly.
but you're not a Steeler fan, are you?
Oh.
I would like to pretend to be a sports
All
fan.
right, cool. That's fair. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. So, John, talk about. All right, that's cool. I'm so glad we have this connection. But our listeners are like, we don't care about this stuff. They want to know about you. They want to know how you founded Humane Innovations. But let's talk about your background, man. How did you, where'd you get started?
Like everybody, I got out of the service in 2004 and took a contracting job in Kuwait for
Mm.
a year. And some dogs showed up, and then those dogs rapidly multiplied. I was not a dog person. I did not have animals on my career horizon in any way, shape, or form. I had a totally different career path. I was taking classes online, and these dogs just showed up. And pretty soon I had 18 dogs. I was feeding. I can't say I was doing much more. Like there's no infrastructure in Kuwait. There wasn't then, and there's roughly none now. A couple of vet hospitals, but there's no shelters, there's no pound, there's no any version of animal management. Um, so I just felt like I could do something. So I took care of those dogs and then pretty quickly got an eviction notice from the Kuwaiti-based commander. The full bird colonel very politely gave me 48 hours to relocate my dogs. I had met a woman that I had heard was starting a shelter, so I reached out to her. And so my dogs became the first dogs in that shelter. Shelter was not completed, so we had this like circus period where we go to feed them and water them every day, and they'd dig out of the temporary enclosures we put them in, and we'd have to go round them up and put them back inside of these temporary enclosures. Um, but we ran that for about 11 years. I ended up marrying that woman. Her name is Aisha. So we built a shelter and quickly figured out that shelters are not great turnkey solutions for animal management. Certainly not holistic solutions for everything that's going on with animals and in communities. So we took the thing that we thought we understood from the U.S. My wife actually went to school at CMU in Pittsburgh.
Oh, shout
She
out CFU. Yeah,
volunteered
great, great
with
school.
organizations here. So she kind of learned like the behavior side and training and enough about sheltering to feel like, oh, we could do this thing. So we built the shelter and quickly realized like, wow, we have just endless animals coming in and that's never going to end. So I started working on upstream solutions, started looking at TNR and how to catch these dogs. Very difficult to capture. cruelty is really profound there and really severe. I mean, we did a pilot program with TNR with 100 dogs, and 100 of them were dead in a year, which kind of gives you some context of just how difficult life is for a dog there. Most of that was intentional
Interesting.
human cruelty, gunshot,
Wow.
hit by car, on purpose.
I was
So
gonna say, is that due to culture over there, or just kind of
I
how it
would, I would
is?
I would almost say local culture more
Okay,
than anything, and also just a
overall,
lack of programming. So when you
got it.
just see a problem in front of you all the time, it's it's complex. I don't want anybody to look at Kuwait and think, ah, animal abusers. But there's a problem, and it's on both sides. Like there's no management program, so there's no solution being applied to this problem. So people take matters into their own hands. Um, I mean, that's kind of what happens when there's no government services related to a key problem. People are trying to walk, they go to mosque 5 times a day if they're devout, and they're being chased by a pack of dogs. So it's some weird context you got to think about. But still unacceptable cruelty, no doubt. So, anyways, we really started pushing upstream. Ended up getting a contract with the state oil company, which sounds weird, but they own 73% of the entire landmass of the country.
Wow.
And so that got us coverage for 80+% because we were like doing buffer zones off of the oil fields. So we accomplished a lot and learned a lot. Ultimately, we decided that we wanted to raise our kids in the U.S., so we left in 2014. Unfortunately, the organization didn't survive our departure, so it no longer exists. So there's now again no shelter, no programming, which is sad, but I learned a lot of things, and I learned a lot of things really the hard way. And so that's kind of what brings me to running this company, and having a name like Humane Innovations. I started doing international disaster response in 2009, with Typhoon Ketsana in the Philippines, and kind of did some different stuff with HSI and some other orgs.
Mhm.
Uh, Started consulting for HSI HSUS at the time in 14, doing dog meat stuff in South Korea, dog fighting, cockfighting, disaster stuff on the national level. Um, and then took on the role of lieutenant for the San Diego Humane Society, for specifically for disaster response. So sort of built out their team, sort of retooled everything. So I have these like two sides of what I do. I do sort of population management, animal capture, and then I do disaster response as well. Well, really disaster consulting at this point. So those are kind of the two buckets of work that I do, apart from products. So this company, we started making leashes actually in 2014. Um, I started playing around with leash designs in South Korea. So like a really specific problem where you have to climb into a cage with a dog that's never been handled in any kind of positive way. There's no external containment, so there's really no option but to get in the cage for most of the dogs if they're anything other than really friendly. Because if they get loose, then they're just gone in the wind. So you got to climb in, sometimes with 13 dogs, and you're kind of limited on what you can bring to South Korea in the first place, and then what you can bring into the cage and actually usefully use. So we had a few tools, but primarily leashes and gloves is like the main things that we're using. So I just started playing with design and put a lot of work into different materials and all the hardware and fittings and whatever. Kind of came up with one design that's ended up being very popular nationally. So that was like our foundational tool. And so we make a variety of different leashes now. Now we're doing handling gloves, we're doing bite pants, we're doing rescue bags, doing all sorts of stuff that we make either in-house or have made for us. And then we're selling all sorts of other products. We sell everything that Tomahawk sells, we sell through our site. We've got Muzzle Movement now. We're the distributor for Muzzle Movement in the US, which if you haven't heard about, definitely check those out. Those are really, really high-end muzzles.
They're
Just
cool too because they're like a nice blue color. Those
yeah,
ones, yeah,
destigmatize dogs and muzzles.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it could be better for the dog and better for the people, and we shouldn't just think of them as bad dogs because they're
Correct.
not.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we're doing a variety of equipment, and then we're doing consulting, on the dog population management side and disaster as well, and then lots of training. So I do the main thing that I end up doing for customers is animal handling and capture training. So that's the summary.
That's a lot. Like, I mean,
Well,
it's so interesting for everybody who comes onto the show and kind of how they got started. Ashley and I have very similar paths. Um, I'm from the deep South Texas, tip of Texas, Brownsville, Texas is where I was born and raised. So a lot of what I saw was culture moved, it's just how people deal with the animals and what they know of caring for a companion animal is. But what led you to, not only the sheltering side of things, but kind of what pushed you forward to the disaster aspect of it?
So it really goes back even farther in my timeline. So
Mm.
my both my parents were in the service. They both served in the Air Force, as did I when I got out of high school. My dad's last duty station was Hurlburt Field. Well, it's surprisingly hard to say when you don't say it a lot. Florida.
It's almost like I was trying to say it, to be honest.
No, it's still Sunday morning. We were up late at a fundraiser last night. Um, Hurlburt Field, Florida, which is Northwest Florida, which is disaster prone. So I grew up like we got hit by some hurricanes. I was an active member of our church youth group at that time. So went out and like just helped the elderly people in our church group recover, like rebuild, whatever. So that was those were kind of defining moments where it was important to me that because I could help out in a situation that I would and should. And so like there's kind of a strong pull towards just helping. And I've done so much disaster at this point, like it doesn't stress me much. I mean, certainly when I'm doing a 20-hour day or something, like I ran the operations for the first 10 days in Lahaina. That was a pretty big operation. I went in and helped set up the operations for the Palisades and the Eaton Fire, both
Wow.
as a private consultant, but I also am on the board of Shelterly, which is kind of a whole different thing we could talk about, disaster information management.
We know them, or we're gonna know them soon, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Shout out Shelterly.
Shout
Yeah.
Hmm.
out Shelterly. Everybody needs it. Trust me.
Yeah.
A whole bigger conversation. It really solves so many problems. But anyway, so I'm pretty comfortable working in a disaster at this point, and I just kind of help at this level of my career. I just sort of help leadership put the thing together, because as I'm sure you know very well, doesn't matter how big your agency is, and it doesn't matter how big the incident is. If it's in your jurisdiction, it's your incident. Doesn't matter if everybody in the world is paying attention to what's happening and animals become the center of the press cycle at some point in the ten days on somewhere in there, animals suddenly become like, oh, all the people were done with that, animals. Lots of focus, lots of potential resources, lots of potential chaos, a lot of good work that can be done. Just sort of like, all right, so we've got a plan, but now let's figure out what can we actually do to help our community to make sure that we're meeting our contractual obligations or our legal obligations, and then like the expectations of our community, which can be there can be a lot of divergence between what we're legally required to do and what people expect us to do. I mean, we need to figure out like where's the commonality, like how can we just do the best work that we can in a disaster. So that's a piece of what I'm doing. I help with disaster plans, disaster training, and then in operations, like I will come and help you run your disaster, kind of like just a parallel to the chart. I don't want to be in your ICS chart. I want to help you establish an ICS chart, figure out who's in what role, coach them through what those roles look like in real time. Because it's one thing to maybe attended a training one or two times. Like that's the best the most services agencies can do for obvious reasons, busy. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, our whole life is now this disaster and everybody's paying attention. So I just kind of help organizations manage that sort of chaos and just turn it into, all right, we got structure, we got operations, everybody knows what to do, who they report to, what the rules are, all the parameters, safety conditions, all that kind of stuff.
Do you find in those moments, because disasters, I mean, we try to prepare for them as much as we can, and I say just animal services in general, but do you find there's always like a common thing that we should be doing better or we should be more prepared for in these moments? Because I've learned, whether it's a disaster like a natural or a man-made like a large-scale hoarding situation, that they should be approached in similar ways. And so I'm just curious what you see, what's the common thing you see from our profession, what we could maybe be a little more prepared for.
There's always a bandwidth problem and then a money problem. So there's certainly stuff that you should have. There's training that you should have, like no question. But if you don't have bandwidth for it, the cheapest thing that you can do that will have outsized impact on your operations is build relationships across the the emergency response sector. So at the county level, like wherever you fit, if you are a municipality or private, like whatever the next layer is for you. So if you're a private, then it's probably your county. You need to be talking to your county. What's this going to look like? How can we support each other if this thing happens? If you're at the county, you need to be talking to your EOC, making sure that they're thinking about animals and planning, that you know these people by name, that their phone number is in your phone and vice versa, because you do not make friends at 2 a.m. And if they don't already know you, you don't already have a good working relationship, you are not going to show up on their radar until it is a problem big enough that someone
Mm-hmm.
outside is forcing them to deal with it. That's
Mm-hmm.
just the reality of it, unless they're just completely done with everything. So until the mayor or the governor or the county council, like whoever finally says, you got to deal with animals because I keep hearing from my constituents. We don't want that to be the route that gets focus put on animals. We want your emergency managers to know you and trust you. And so when you say, hey, I need resources or whatever, that they already know you, there's already a level of trust there. They know what your agency does. That's a big one. Also, training other first response agencies, because no matter how big you are, you do not have enough people to cover an entire large scale disaster. And it's going to be a while before you have enough teams. And it's rare that you actually have enough teams. That there's an animal team in every sector of this disaster, and they're all doing assessment and they're all doing operations. It's just not realistic. The first groups going in are going to be the floodwater teams, swiftwater teams, whatever, the USAR teams, like whatever type of incident it is. So spend some time training them. Like get into your local fire department, your task force, like whatever level you can get to. Just spend some time talking to them about what it looks like to encounter animals in disasters, who to contact. Make sure you're advertising to them like, hey, we've got a hotline. You can call us so we can get you resources. We could tell you where to bring animals if you find them, even if it's we're going to meet you somewhere. Like we're not going to get into the flood because we don't have boats and training. Like, okay, fine. So you're a standard animal services agency. Like we'll meet you somewhere and we'll grab this animal from you. So if you can make it as easy as possible for the other first response agencies to help animals, because they don't want to walk away from animals. They don't want to get hurt dealing with animals. They don't have a lot of space for animals. But if you can make it as easy as possible, then that's a force multiplier. You can get more done just by having these conversations in advance. So then they're thinking like, okay, so if we do deal with animals, this is how we can do that. They know who to call. Like, hey, we just found a dog. What do we do? Like, cool. At least they had your phone number. It's a lot easier than, oh, we got to report it up through the EOC and then it's going to go blah, blah, blah. Communicate that up through the EOC as well, but also have those relationships because it really can get a lot more done a lot more quickly.
I was gonna say, how do you, I'm sure you've hit this, because the previous shelters that I worked for, again, we're on the coast, so hurricanes are, a big thing for us, and I can't remember ever kind of going through a situation where, we connected with, either the county or the EOC or things like that. What are your suggestions for people? Like I work for a municipality, for people who are having that kind of struggle, that are trying to get to their county constituents, or even the state constituents, that they need to have a plan and they're so resistant. How do we on our end encourage that behavior to come up with some kind of plan and to keep us in the loop? Because I feel like in animal services we're always out of the loop, and it's like I still even feel that now, as our animal sheltering agency, we'll get called out to a call. They knew there were animals there. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and our SWAT team is out here at this bus, and they knew there were 20 dogs on this property. How do we get them, encourage them to keep us in the loop for those types of things?
It's all about relationship building. So there's an expectation that because the federal system, the Pets Act and NIMS and whatever, like kind of standardized some resources, and there's supposed to be an animal services branch manager, coordinator in the EOC, that like it's a done deal and we should just be included in the process. But that's just not how humans actually work. Like, yes, that stuff helps us structurally for sure, and that helps us get reimbursed for what we're doing when it's a declared disaster. All that's great. But if you're not showing up once in a while at a roll call at your county sheriff's or whatever level you think makes sense to you, I'm so and so with animal services. This is what we do. This is what a response from us looks like. This is what we'd love you to do. Here's our number. Here's our dispatch, or here's a back end line. Like try to get a dedicated number, dedicated system for other first response agencies. If you make them call your standard dispatch number, that's just that's understandable why you do that, but that's really not desirable.
Mhm.
Make them feel special, get them slightly faster service for hopefully obvious reasons. And just you just got to keep pounding pavement, keep making relationships. You know, there's turnover. You'll find a captain once in a while who really is passionate about animals because he or she's got a pet they love that they rescued from the shelter. Like that person's going to be your advocate. Like, and you don't know until you just keep having the conversation. And don't take a no as a final answer on any of this. No is today's answer. Like we got to understand that's the fact. Today they're too busy. Today they're dealing with whatever kind of heinous crimes or whatever. Like maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe it's in a week. Maybe it's the next time we're actually on scene somewhere and there's animals. And maybe we can do a debrief after that if something doesn't go right. You just got to, it's so much of it is relationship building. I know it's hard when you've got lots of service calls that you've got to fulfill, and not a lot of time, not a lot of bandwidth. You got to make some time for it. Go to roll call, bring donuts, whatever you can do. There's going to be tabletop exercises. Like if you're not there, you're not part of the conversation. The Red Cross or whoever does your human sheltering is going to be inspecting shelter sites. And if you're not there, then they're going to decide where animals are going to go and what that's going to look like. But if you're there, then you can advocate for why this makes sense or doesn't make sense and what would work better for animals if you're doing that type of sheltering or whatever agency it is. You know, grab that agency and bring them with you. You know, there's all sorts of different ways this looks where some agencies do all of it and some just do the field part, whatever.
I'll tell you,
Um,
we just you got to be, and no pun intended here, but you do have to be innovative in your approach, man. And there was a training course that came up right next door to us for the staging area manager for emergencies. And though it didn't really apply from the title to specific animal control stuff, man, we went over and it was all law enforcement, and it was the class was really designed to be. Um, I would say like responding to active shooter type situations. But they were so cool and welcoming. You know, we were like, can we modify this exercise, this tabletop exercise, to a hoarding situation? Like, how can we put ourselves in a same or a similar situation? And they were so welcoming. And what it does too is I think it then opens up the eyes of others to say, like, whoa, wait, animal control is dealing with maybe not like similar from the level of public safety threats
Hmm.
in that aspect, but definitely similar from the schematics and everything else. And so, man, that was really cool. And like you said, it helps build relationships in that aspect because now I know this mutual aid person face to face, handshake, etc. And so, if a situation comes up, it makes that conversation a little bit easier for sure.
yeah, good example, Daniel, for sure. Like if you're not showing up, then you're just losing opportunities.
And I
If you
think
show the right attitude, you
yeah,
can do.
we have to advocate for ourselves in this profession, and so show up for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay if no is the answer today. One of the main issues that we're seeing now is that, especially in structure fueled wildfire, where we go from wild to we hit the interface and we start burning houses,
Mm,
like Palisades, Eaton, Lahaina, Campfire, all those types of things. There's so much lo human loss of life and potential loss of life that there is an elevated concern for crime scene management. There's a
Hmm.
real lack of desire to let anybody into those zones except for the crime scene investigators and the USAR teams who are doing, remains recovery.
mm,
So the animal mission gets pushed way, way, way back for kind of understandable reasons. They're going to say, no, you can't even get into this disaster zone. And that's understandable, but we still have to advocate for our mission, which means showing up and talking about how much work we know we need to do because this is the number of service calls that we have. This is the data we have on how many animals there were. This is what we know about past disasters where there is a survivability factor. There are animals that are burned out there right now. There are animals that escaped underground, especially cats. They're living underground right now. So we know there is a mission. We know there are living things that we can save. And we would like to access this zone in a professional way within your parameters. Like you set the conditions. It can be curtilage only, it can be sidewalk only, but let's get in there and do feeding stations. Let's advocate for our mission. And the answer may be no today, and it may be no for 7 more days. But eventually the answer will be yes. And we need to be there and ready when the answer is yes, because we've consistently had field responders ready to go, and the law enforcement side saying no, no access.
mm.
We're not going to let you in. And so we need to advocate for ourselves, but we also need to already have a good working relationship with the county sheriffs, who is usually the ones in charge of that disaster as far as access goes. Because if the sheriff says yes, then the answer is yes, almost unequivocally. Federal can't say no because the local sheriff said yes. So I try to have that relationship in advance. We see it works much more smoothly when when the county cart reports to the sheriffs, or animal services reports to the sheriff. Like, so that tells you something about the nature of that relationship and the importance of having a good relationship at that level.
Y'all say disasters of fires. Give me a hurricane all day. But man, kudos to everybody who deals with the fire disasters because I couldn't.
Well, it makes me think about a couple things. One, the emphasis on animals, though you were just talking about, like, yeah, sometimes we're not going to get that support. It has changed, where I think in some disasters past, animals were a second or third thought. And I think now it's extremely common to, make sure animal welfare is present during these disasters. And so there's a need for us to be available. And like you said, it's putting ourselves out there. It's getting involved in some of these, whether it's trainings or introductions somehow. And that's really cool, man. I want to switch gears a little bit to your time as a lieutenant in San Diego. Ironically, I also at one point was a lieutenant in San Diego. This pathway of us Western PA dudes, and then San Diego, and then like these names, Humane, man, John. We got to talk offline. But how long were you down there for San Diego
Three
Humane?
years. Yeah.
And as far as that went, like, was that how long were you doing field services in general in your career?
I mean, it's looked kind of weird because I've been all over the world and
Okay.
not usually with a like municipal or county animal control like you'd understand it. So my strength is far more in the interacting with the animal, the rescue or the capture or whatever. Somewhat like crime scene management, but not like prosecuting cases, not,
Okay.
like the operations of running a thing. Um, so it's a kind of a hard question to answer, but I did 3 years with them, just retooling their emergency response team.
So that was your main focus, was emergency response at that.
Purely,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, vehicles, equipment, fire training, all that kind of stuff, just getting everybody to where like we were meeting all of the required standards at the state and federal level, that we were reimbursable. So when we sent responders, we were getting our money back for doing that, which is important. No one wants that to be the number one thing, but if you're operating at a loss, you're not going to do it for long. And then making sure people were safe and knew how to do their jobs. That's critical. So that I'm still on the emergency management committee for Cal Animals, so
Okay.
still have some level of involvement in standardizing training, and that's one of the core things we're trying to work on, which is actually an interesting additional segue to Shelterly. And that Shelterly is really helping us to standardize kind of some one system, and every agency who's using that one system can support each other remotely or in person very easily. And they're all doing search management the same way. They're all doing emergency sheltering more or less the same way, at least in terms of data management. And then reunification is much, much cleaner. So that's all born out of that time with San Diego as well. We were one of the early implementers of Shelterly. Like we were trialing it when it was still brand new. And it's unrecognizably amazing now.
That's cool. We're excited to have them on here
Mhm.
in the coming episodes. With Talk to me about how, like, it sounds like you definitely have your hand in a lot of different piles, and I just wonder, like, how do you balance? This is gonna be my hard favorite question. How do you balance? And I want the real answer here, John. Putting you on
All
the
right,
spot.
let me dig deep.
Seriously, how do you balance the different, maybe, hmm, egos or
I was gonna
different
say personalities.
personalities, egos, and agendas through all these different agencies? Because there are differences.
There are. For one thing, I accept them. I have been many places now. I think I've been to my like 47th country. I'll
Wow.
add at least one more this year. I'll be doing dog population management workshop in Kazakhstan in November. It'll be a new country for me. So I've worked everywhere. And so for one thing, I've changed my expectations. I think going into this world, I thought we were going to fix animal welfare in Kuwait, and the sky's the limit. Right. I think a lot of us jump into this career thinking, oh, we're gonna save the animal, we're gonna make these things better, and we are, and we do that every day with our actions, with animals in our communities. But my expectation for what I'm gonna change has evolved. So if I can move the needle just slightly in the right direction with a single agency, I mean, it'd be amazing if I could do that with the whole industry. I'm not that ambitious. With a single individual, if I can help somebody do things better, more safely, feel more confident in what they do, and if they hold on to this career a little longer, or hopefully for a full career, then that's a win to me. Like when we have people that are trained and professional that want to stay here and continue to do this work, that aren't burnt out and overwhelmed and forced to do mean things to animals because they don't have the tools or the training. So I've changed what my expectations look like. I mean, I'll teach a class, and I'm really happy if one or two people seem really engaged, because one or two people can change an organization.
Sure.
And so I've sort of changed what my expectations are, I think is the main thing. But after that, like we're all still working toward the same thing. We might have different reasons that we're here at the table, like whether you're just here for money or you're the person that absolutely loves these animals and will do anything for them, or you're just determined to promote, like whatever it is, like you're still in this career field. Like there's a lot of other things you could do that would probably pay better, be safer, be emotionally more stable for you, whatever. You can get one of those great factory jobs, something. Like there's all sorts of other stuff that you could do. But we're all here trying to contribute toward a thing that is, you know, improving animal welfare, changing the way that our communities think about animals. I'm happy to work with anybody who's willing to just put a little bit of skin in the game. Doesn't have to be all of the skin.
Well, it's interesting, that you say that because I think for a lot of us, it's kind of hard, especially in this day and age when certain movements have kind of taken over. And something that I think that I find very interesting that you said is that you're starting on the smaller scale, which I wish our industry would really focus on, because if we started on that smaller scale, I think we would be in a much better place than trying to change it on the overall scale, if that makes sense. Um, I wish we could really deep dive into what's causing the issues in our communities rather than trying to blanket it across the industry. Um, because it makes it very difficult for myself and an 89,000, population town to compare myself to somebody like a major metropolitan like Dallas or Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's very interesting, and I think that's awesome that you've learned that, John, especially coming out of a different scenario. I feel like than most of us. So kudos to you to like already be in that mindset, because I think sometimes it gets the best of people where they're trying to figure out how they can fix the entire industry rather than really focusing on their community, and sometimes it can do a little bit more harm than good.
Yeah, it took us a long time to get where we are. We really started doing animal welfare just post-slavery. We started working with kids and animals. Like that's the basic history.
Yeah.
Mm.
Fast forward to 2025, and like we're all pretty aware of where we've gotten. It is far from perfect. We've made a lot of progress. Like there's different tools, and we know a lot more about animal health and welfare. A lot of things have improved, but they've improved incrementally. So we just need to all recognize that we're contributing to a long lineage of improving the lives of animals. Like none of us will get to the end of our career and be like, well, fix that problem. Like
Mhm.
somebody can take on the next thing, which it could be depressing depending how you look at it, but like we are all contributing toward making this a little bit better. So let's have reasonable expectations for what we can do, like emotionally, physically, whatever, what our organizations can do and what our industry can do. I think if we're all focused on like, can our organization do better? Can I do better? Like within reason, like can I still take care of myself and do a good job? Let's focus down there. And that gets you those community connections. Like, how can I help this animal, this person, like this community? Like, what else can we do? Can we, and explore all of those local solutions?
There's so much to be said about just just effort, and I mean that I mean that in a nice way. But effort can be recognized across all platforms, whether like it is animal welfare or it is law enforcement or it's another um, agency, etc. And I think how do I say this in the nice way? There's some of us that lack that effort, and it's refreshing to see that you're out there doing all this. I don't know. You probably spend more time on the road than you do home. It sounds like it, like you're,
Currently. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
be in Cabot tomorrow with Cabot Animal Support Services for a few days. And
And
then I'm headed toward vacation for a little while.
well, there you go.
I don't vacation like normal humans though.
Oh,
I hate to tell you. I'll be running the Wind River with three other people in northern Yukon territories. Like you gotta take a float plane to a lake and then hike to a river and then
then you
run.
run on the river like,
No, like running a river like in a canoe.
okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah, in subarctic conditions, like it'll be
Oh,
cold, there'll be bears, like it's all very
no.
normal.
See, John seems to have figured it out, or Dan. Like for some of us over here who are just like, no. And you know what's so refreshing too about you, John, is that you're just I love how you're just so positive because for a lot of us in the industry, I feel like, especially those of us who work in municipalities or government run facilities, it's hard to keep that positivity. So it's good to have people like you in the industry who are this invested to help us get out of that. So I appreciate you for continuing that positivity because it can be really tough.
Yeah, well, let me also say that I've gotten to this point through a lot of hard work for one thing, but also like I've reached the full burnout stage. Like 11 years working in the Middle East
Mm.
in a really dead end kind of way, like just trying to keep animals alive or just trying to give them a humane end. A lot of times, like so much suffering on such a crazy scale and so little community support, like no philanthropy, like just month to month, just begging for enough money to try to exist. Um, I've been burned out. Like I got to the point where I wasn't sure I'd stay in this industry at all, and I needed a pretty substantial break, and then had to build a lot of walls around how I do the work. So this smiling face is the result of a lot of personal and emotional struggle. I've been there in the trenches. And so, yeah, I value the role I can play now in bringing some really hard lessons to bear, like whether it's how we handle animals and catch them, how we do that at scale if we're trying to do cat or dog population management, how we deal with the chaos and crisis of disaster. I try to bring like all those hard lessons and the walls that I've built to keep myself functional for you. I try to bring that to my customers, help them build programs or training, help them do better with animals. Because I mean, just at the foundation of what we do, this animal handling piece, like you feel so much better when you have the right tool for the job and you know how to use it, and you can sort of minimize the amount of stress um, that you put onto an animal, whether that's physical or emotional. You just feel better about it. When you're forced to do things in ways that are less than ideal at minimum, you don't feel good about that, and that builds up pretty quick. Like when you're trying to help animals, but you're out there like, oh, just practically choked him to death. That sucked. That's not really sustainable. That's how people burn out pretty quick because they got into this to help animals and save animals, and now they're out doing things that like, God, I did not have any other way to deal with this. So the innovation part is huge. Like I really push people to think outside the box. I show them lots of other ways that we can handle animals, how we minimize control pole use, not for the sake of it, because I think it's a tool that should never be used. It should be used when it should be used, but there's a lot of other ways we can do things. Let's think about all these different options and tools and techniques and things, like give you more options so you could feel better about the choices you make. That's just a core part of what I do. Just help you think outside the box. Because when you're working in a shelter or an animal services, like you're almost literally working inside of a box. If you're in a shelter, everything's quite linear.
Mhm.
It's really hard to think of other ways we could use the same space when we've been doing things the same way for whatever period of time. So just having an outside perspective come in and say, we could try this or we could try this. Let's do this thing. What about this tool? And then really implement that. Like, all right, now next time we have this kind of animal, let's not do the thing we did last time. That sucked. Let's do a different thing. Like we could try one of these other 10 things. Let's do one of them and see if that works better, and then just hone in on, okay, great. Now instead of 5 options, we've got 30 options. And now we can start to make better choices for animals and for ourselves, safer choices as well.
Well, I'm
So
excited
what?
to. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say I'm excited to continue to watch you bring some of this innovation to our profession. I think it's really cool. Like I said, I've seen you and I don't know if it's just the algorithm or you maybe have just been doing a lot more lately, but I've seen your face or the name pop up a lot, and it's really inspiring to be honest. I want to talk offline about some innovation ideas that I have too at some point. So
Yeah, cool. No, I appreciate that. I've hired a professional in social media, and that
okay,
has things.
that
She's the
that'll change things.
yeah. Before it was like, oh yeah, I got to post something. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I know the struggle. It is real.
Yeah. So what's coming up for, Humane Innovations? Where do you see, yourself in the next couple of months? Where do you see you all in like the next 5 years?
Yeah, great question. So I mean, we've got the different pieces of our business for one thing. The equipment part is going really well. We've launched, we got 40 pairs of gloves that we've got in stock. We've got a couple more coming. Really focusing on sort of fit and dexterity, but still having that layer of Kevlar and more or less padding, depending on the model. So really excited about some of that. Like we really went back to the drawing board and like, all right, let's focus on your ability to do things with your hand, and then add in layers of protection on top of that. Like you're never going to have
True.
like, full use of your hand and good protection, but we tried to balance that better. Less like loose kind of floppy fingers and stuff where you can't feel very well. And then different features for different species and also personal preference. So that's been a labor of love, like just doing that, bringing a lot of new stuff to market. The bite pants are coming soon, so we've got two different levels of that, a basic and a pro. Um, we've got the rescue bags we're bringing back. Like nobody's making those right now. So there used to be a product called an evac sack, and that's not so much for animal services sometimes, but certainly for fire professionals, like whether you got a cat in a vehicle accident or a small dog, or you're in a fire or a flood, like you don't have animal tools. So if we can give you a small, high quality bag, mesh bag, that you can put this animal into. So we've got a basic version and a pro version. The pro version is fully integrated webbing, so it's load bearing. You can dangle it off a rope, whatever you got to do. Double closure, so you could seal it off onto a culvert and still close an animal into it. You could put it over the end of a trap and transfer a cat out of a trap or into a trap, as it were. So just really thinking about like, all right, so we have this category of product. Like, let's not just bring it back the same way that it was. Let's get some input from different people, like how we make this thing better, how to make it stronger. I'm really fortunate to have an amazing company that I work with. They're actually in Pakistan. They do amazing work with textiles. Like I can't sew to save my life. Ask my daughter. But I've just built a really close friendship with this company, with this guy Umar, who just he brings such passion to redesign. He just loves our industry so much, even though he's never been in it before in his life. He is so engaged in animal services from Pakistan. It's so cool.
That is
Uh,
cool.
so he's awesome and really helping us bring like exciting new products to the market. And we got a whole bunch of other stuff we want to do. We want to do a net that breaks down so you can travel with it or fit it in the backseat of your car, but still be a big, strong net. Um, yeah, lots of different stuff. I'm filling orders for 171 leashes today. I got
Wow,
to get that done before I leave tomorrow. So the product's moving. The leashes are very popular. That's the number one thing that we sell, and they're very, very good quality. Really features specifically for us, durable, all sorts of things there. So that's like the product side. A lot of new stuff coming. Keep checking the website or social, like you'll see new stuff dropping. Um, I'll be in Cabot next, and then I got a lot of conferences. I'll be at the Aggression and Dogs conference in Charlotte. I'll be teaching at the Marin Humane Academy for California. Right after that, I'll be at the Tennessee Animal Control Conference, the Virginia Animal Control Conference. Those are all back to back. I don't get home between those
oh
those
wow,
four. I'll be in Romania. We're doing a dog population management workshop for the city of Bucharest. They've got a pretty big program, and they've got some challenges they're working through. Um, I don't know. I got so many different things. I'll be teaching with Fairfax a couple of times in Virginia. I've got tentative or confirmed for like Guam, Majuro. Um, what have we got? So many places I can't even remember all of them.
and is that
Uh,
mainly the handling stuff that you're talking about earlier? Is that
Mostly,
okay?
yes. But if we're looking international, their main challenge is more catching the
Okay.
animals. They
Mm-hmm.
need to catch a volume of animals. They need to do it in a way. It's hard to imagine how many loose dogs there are in other communities. There's nothing like it in the US.
Right.
So when you try to use one method, and you generally do the easiest method, whatever you think the easiest method is in your country. And if you try to do that and it's not super stealthy quiet, then all the dogs start to learn really, really quickly. And then it becomes impossible for you to catch a
Hmm,
high enough concentration of them.
makes
And then you
sense.
got to start doing advanced capture. So
I
we're
like
actually
it.
making electric triggers for advanced capture traps.
Yeah.
So we start looking at that. We start looking at different types of dog traps. We start looking at netting, darting. We're looking at bringing an oral sedative to the market that actually works for dogs. So we're working with a company. It's possible. I met recently with a pharma company that you could actually give a dog a small amount of oral and they will actually fall asleep pretty quickly.
You know, it'd be
Um,
cool as a oral application would be spaying and neutering, like some sort of sterilization. That's
that's
like,
way harder. Those
I
chemicals don't exist yet.
I know, but one can dream. One can dream.
Agreed. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beyond what we could do, but we can help bring this product to market. Yeah, so definitely lots of stuff. I can't believe I'm blanking on so many places. I'll be in Guinea. I'll be teaching customs officers how to handle wildlife when it's smuggled in or out of Guinea
Well, that's
uh,
awesome.
with a group there. Um, and I'm doing a lot of stuff with WOA right now, World Organization for Animal Health. So we just did a disaster workshop in actually in Bucharest a couple weeks ago, working with state veterinary authorities from different countries across Europe. We're working on their planning, talking about what we've done operationally in the U.S., and then some dog population management stuff with them as well. So yeah, I mean, I bounce around a little bit, kind of figuring out like what makes the most sense, but part of what I do a certain number of pro bono projects a year. I can't afford to do many, and I usually focus on organizations that are like in the middle of nowhere somewhere on an island or something like that, where they there's no way they could afford professional consultancy, and I love to just go in and do some training. Like if you can feed me and house me for a week, I will come and teach you.
That's
Um,
awesome.
not trying to advertise that too broadly, but that's one of the things we do because
Yeah, people are
we're,
going to be
we're
setting up extra kennel space in their shelter, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, we got a run. Your spot is kennel number 145. Here's some
yeah.
earplugs and a blanket and a Malinois."
Yeah, my standards are slightly higher than that, but not much. I used to do that kind of thing in the early semester days.
Well,
Yeah.
we appreciate you taking the time out to discuss, man. This is really cool to see all the work that you're doing. It is multifaceted, and
Mhm.
that's awesome. It sounds like you are definitely motivated to continue to make positive change, and we respect that. I think the more people out here doing this type of work, the better all the animals, all the communities are going to be. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I feel like I have more impact now doing this thing. I don't know why, but I dig deep down with different organizations, just help them fix some systemic problems, help them be safer, more effective, more humane, whatever it is. So as a values-driven company, like that's what it's all about. Like we want to help people in our industry do better, whether you're in a shelter, a field services role, whatever it is. That's our goal is to support you all. So I really appreciate you having me on the show today.
Absolutely. Is there anything you want to make sure our listeners know or hear before we wrap this thing up?
HumaneInnovations.com. You
Yeah,
can use the quote feature if you want to just figure out how much something costs. If you're trying to buy a bunch of stuff, definitely use the quote feature. And if you're an agency, I will give you a discount. So keep that in mind.
right on,
Um,
man.
you can connect with us a whole bunch of different ways through the website. You can always email me, John@humaneinnovations.com as well.
Awesome. Thanks, John. We appreciate your time. And as always, we like to say thanks for listening, and let's continue to help people.
Help animals.
Keep it
Keep
humane.
it humane.
Innovations.